have. Ice Pat is not the most reliable and kind of hard to really set up. I'm looking forward to what Boom ID has to really work with this Jakiro. I feel like we might see the Faceless Void come out just because that combination with Jakiro works out quite well, or a core that can hold people down, because it just feels a bit lacking with an Earth Spirit Jakiro. We've seen teams have issues when they can't hold people down for too long. They do go with the Darkseer. That combines quite well with Jakiro, and I think I'm quite happy with that pickup now. You can definitely see the draft coming together for Boom ID. Mineski, again, really good single target control coming out, and really good damage coming out now with that AM as well. Really slippery hero. Doesn't really care for Razor, actually, which is going to be a very strong point for Mineski here. He doesn't care much for the static link, and in fact, he doesn't care much for the stuns coming out from Boom ID either. They won't be able to hold down a hero like Anti-Mage for too long. He's a bit too slippery. Again, no instantaneous hexes, no instant stuns coming in here from Boom ID, which means that this AM from Mineski should be able to weave in and out in all of these team fights and cause havoc as this game progresses.
No, that is a very good point, John, and I did love the AM pick coming up from Mineski. It just, like you said, the static link is not going to bother him whatsoever unless we count, maybe the laning phase a bit if they are laning against each other. But you can always go for that second level in Blink, or even the first if you really want. And that ceases to become a problem. Boom ID though. That Darkseer Jakiro combo, I love seeing it, John. It's very exciting, especially if you do get a very nice vac wall into the Ice Path. Of course, Earth Spirit as well can get some major silences and slows going on with his own abilities, assuming everything comes together and the coordination is on point. But at the very least, Mineski. One final pickup for them. They actually go for the last ban on the Meepo. It's rather interesting because I wasn't expecting a Meepo to come out, but I suppose when you're in this lower bracket, you never really know. And Meepo is one of those heroes that can hold the Anti-Mage and the Queen of Pain down. That's a fair ban from them.
Yeah, that's a fair ban. I feel you pretty much covered the basis as to why you'd ban a Meepo here. I feel like there are still some options Boom ID can opt for. None of them are particularly awe-inspiring, in my opinion. Again, the Void is still in the pool, but I feel like you probably don't want to go for that now. You're going to have a bit of a rough time there, especially with the AM and Queen of Pain. It's going to be fairly easy to drop you down and burst you down quite quick. Again, there's still a few options, but it's kind of tricky. This AM pick really throws a lot of Boom ID's strengths kind of into question. A big team fight coming out, great area control, but a severe lack of single target control. It's really going to be something to watch out for. The Queen of Pain and the AM should be able to jump in and out quite well. They have great push potential coming out from Mineski right now. Shadow Shaman, of course, being able to push entirely by himself as a support. So you will have to watch out for that, especially when we approach that late game. The Blink's going to come out, the Refresher Orb is going to come out, the Aghanim Scepter is going to come out as well. So it's going to be a bit of an issue here if Boom doesn't get that great start. They have a lineup for that good start, but if they don't secure that, then, well, AM and Queen of Pain can just farm so fast.
Well, Mineski, they do finish it off with a Pangolier now, so the one thing they were kind of lacking was that AoE disable, and I suppose Pangolier is one of those heroes that can get the job done with the Rolling Thunder. So I don't mind this whatsoever, and we did see it last game. It was actually up against Mineski, where Ice played a fantastic Pangolier. Hopefully we'll see KP replicate a similar performance to Ice this game around. Of course, Boom ID, however, one final pick for them, and well, we've already pointed out quite a few issues with their draft in comparison to Mineski's. Perhaps they're about to surprise us and show us why they've actually got it in the bag. We'll find out very soon, but it does feel like they need some kind of innate root in this case, and I could really recommend there could be an Ember Spirit coming out here, John, for the AM and the Quap.
That would be fair. I think the Ember Spirit would fit in just fine. There's some other wacky options as well. You could go with the Lone Druid and Dependent Bear. You could go with a Naga Siren Core, which, I still don't feel, after all this time, I still don't think it has any room. They do go with the Lycan.
Okay. I know you disagree. I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
I would like to take a moment to explain why it is viable, in my opinion, John. Because I think they understand that they're not going to be able to take Mineski head on if it goes too late, because it's an AM and you've got a quap. But I mean, two people blinking, you already have kind of drafted yourself in a bit of a corner. I think the only option they have is use the Jakiro, use the Lycan, and just try to finish this game within 25 minutes. After that, it's kind of Mineski's game no matter how you look at it. Like, the later it goes, I feel like Mineski's probably just going to have it in the bag. Not necessarily, but, you know, assuming they get the farm up on Ajit and Moon, they're probably going to go fine. But if Boom ID can just finish the job quickly, then they may never have a chance to get online, which is why I'm assuming the Lycan was brought out.
It's a fair point to make, and, you know, that could happen. I'm just worried. Definitely a bit worried. We've seen it happen before when the Lycan falls behind. It just doesn't end well for that team. Again, you're running a Lycan strat. It's a very timing-sensitive hero. You want to hit that good timing on your Dominator. You want to get a good timing on your Necronomicon. And if you don't, you just really taper off in that mid-game. You can play catch-up towards that late game and perhaps be a menace again if the enemy team's not ready. It's just a tall order. The good thing about Boom ID's draft, though, is they definitely don't rely too much in farm. So even if their laning phase goes to crap, as long as they get EXP, they should be able to do significant amounts of work on the map, as long as they get that EXP going. The farm doesn't even matter too much. As long as they get good timings under 6, they start grouping up properly, finding pickoffs here and there, slowing down that AM, securing all the tier 1s by maybe 15 to 20, start knocking the tier 3s by 20 to 25. I think those are the timings that Mineski need to reach to make this game, to kind of seal this game. For Boom ID, I mean, sorry.
Well, I mean, in terms of laning, Boom ID do seem to have arguably the upper hand. Darkseer is there, of course, with the Iron Shells. The Lycan generally is going to win out the lane, right? Like, you're up against the Pangolier, which is super annoying, but once you've got a couple levels up in that Feral Impulse, you're probably going to be okay. Mid lane could be either way, though. Moon on that Queen of Pain is not going to have too many issues up against the Razor being played by Mikoto. So look, I think if Boom ID can get the good laning phase, like you said, it could be in the bag for them, but they certainly have that timing they have to follow. Mineski, much easier game plan in my opinion for them. Just sit back, relax, get the farm up onto Ajit, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's definitely much more clear-cut for Mineski as to how to reach that win condition. And they do have the heroes to support that quite well. Bane, Shadow Shaman are quite selfless as supports. They really wouldn't mind trading their lives as long as their cores are farming. And I think we're going to see a lot of that life trading as this game goes on in the laning phase, Mike. I believe Boom, again, wants to have that early aggression coming out, especially with the heroes they have. You want to make use of this Earth Spirit early on. It has a strong spike in the early game. Along that, Jakiro, the damage output of these two supports are great. You're going to want to maximize that, and if they don't, it gets a bit worrisome for Boom.
Going to find out how it goes very, very soon. The laning stage has started, and both teams not really engaging with each other early on. Just more than happy to get some creep blocks going. Started off rather calm. We'll see bot lane. Fervient will be there with Kezcute up against Raging Potato and KP on that Pangolier. And it's one of those lanes at this bot lane where it does feel like Boom should have the advantage, especially with that Liquid Fire that they can throw out, as well as the Jewel Breath. Just a lot of damage there on Raging Potato, and it can be really hard to put up with that throughout the lane.
Yeah, there's definitely a good amount of damage coming from both sides. I feel like I'm going to have to favor Mineski's early game damage in this lane, actually, just because of the right-click of Shadow Shaman. It's quite a fair bit more, and Eater Shock is good burst as well. Don't forget that KP has a pretty good level 1 Vector Nuke as well, so it's a lot of damage you can pump out in a short period of time.
Those are very solid points, John. I can't disagree with you on that. Time will tell. So far, so good at that bot lane. Meanwhile, mid lane, we do have Moon up against Mikoto, and for the moment, Mikoto is having a decent time harassing Moon. Saw that static link just come out, but immediately Moon can just blink away and make sure it's not effective whatsoever. And Moon does remain just ahead in terms of last hits by 2. Meanwhile, top lane's a bit of a mess right now. People are moving around. The only man really standing there is Arjit, so it does appear that Boom have tried to go for a kill onto perhaps Ninja Boogie. That is a fair bit of wasted time for the side of Boom, and leaving Arjit there on his AM, John, that's never really a good idea.
Yeah, you really don't want this hero to hit time because it wants to fairly early on. And, you know, Ajit has had a pretty good time up here top. I don't think he feels too pressured by the dual lane coming out from Boom ID just yet. In fact, he's playing really aggressive here.
Yeah, well, they've got the Nightmare off, and he's drained most of his mana. Surge is not available right now, and Ajit just back to farming. No real need to chase this any further. Just make sure FBZ has as low as mana as possible, so you won't have too much of an issue with those Iron Shells later on. Meanwhile, bot lane, Kezcute could be the first blood here. KP doesn't have Swashbuckle available, and Kezcute does barely manage to get away and salve himself up under the tier 1 tower. Looks like KP will also make his way out, but they are starting to get rather aggressive on the side of Mineski. In fact, hold that thought, because Jokam rolls in, but he's kind of by himself right now. Dual Breath will not... It will connect with the slow on Raging Potato, but not the burn. Meanwhile, top lane, FBZ will be the first blood. Ajit managed to find it with Ninja Boogie. Bot lane, bit of a chase on Raging Potato, but it is only Jokam making that chase. See KP coming in now to deal a bit of harassment out onto Jokam, but thinks better of it as well. Just get back to farming in the off lane. In fact, Jokam, this is the roll in, though it does get the slow. KP, Swashbuckle is then Raging. Will be okay. Turns around, dishes out a bit more harassment, though Jokam, he turns around as well. Doesn't have any way to stop Raging Potato. KP, again, probably throw out another Swashbuckle. In fact, they get the shackles off. That may be just enough. Jokam gonna go for the roll, and can he get Raging? No, he cannot. So close yet so far. Raging Potato really playing with fire there, but it does pay off for the side of Mineski.
Yeah, nice clean kill going away from Mineski. 2-0 now. Pretty slow laning phase, but again, I think that's really what you can expect from both teams running these fairly safe sort of laners. Nothing too wild coming out. I do like the aggression coming out from Mineski in this lane, though. They are kind of applying a lot of pressure in Fervian. So his farm isn't as good as it should be, but it's not the worst start for a Lycan we've seen so far, Mike.
I mean, it goes back to what you said the other day as well, John. Like, these Lycans don't really need much farm, they just need a lot of XP. This is where they're going to go into FBZ top lane again, and ooh, Nightmare was actually on Arjit, so they don't stop FBZ, and well, FBZ comes in on his own accord now, but he does have help of his supports. Can they actually burst anyone down? It looks like they'll probably get Ninja Boogie. It is a slow process, but they'll get it done nonetheless, surely. And FBZ will manage to pick that up with the Iron Shell. They don't manage to get Arjit, and Arjit does actually get both bounty runes as well. I believe both bounty runes, in fact all bounty runes I believe went to Mineski, and they'll find another kill bot lane. KP and Raging Potato managing to find Fervian on that Lycan.
Yeah, again, just all these rotations coming out from Boom ID does mean that they expose your safe laner. And again, there is already an immense amount of pressure on Fervian on this lane. He's still hitting his timings, I feel, quite well. It's just that he will pretty much cop a lot of harassment by himself here.
Gonna cop more harassment now. Raging did not actually go for the shackles, just leaves him be. Meanwhile, Jokam falling very low. He'll turn around now with the boulder smash. Arjit immediately turns around to help his support, and they do back off. This is that point now, though, where it's going to get a bit frustrating for Arjit. FBZ, level 2 Iron Shell, and he can just spam those out. Can get a lot harder to actually get those last hits off without copping so much darn damage.
There will be pain. There will be screaming.
Moon did manage to pick up an Invis rune, but just go back to farming. Meanwhile, it looks like Makoto has resulted to just going into the jungle for the moment. Starting to struggle a bit against Moon's Queen of Pain and would rather go for the safe jungle farm, which is, I suppose, fair enough, right? When you've got that unstable current that just passively deals damage over and over again, like the Razor jungle is just viable.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a bit more viable than staying in the lane, especially when you don't have levels in Plasma Field. You can't really apply too much harass in the Queen of Pain. You can't rely on that static link, of course, because she'll just blink out, so your options of staying in that lane and winning that trade is limited.
Goes for it again and still is 14 damage, so it's a little bit of a bonus, and they're going to roll in now. Nice stun from Jokam. Boulder Smash is there as well. Moon, has he overstayed his welcome? No, not quite yet, but now he has. He gets Jokam as a nice little trade, but he does lose his life to Makoto. Overall, I do believe it favors Boom ID.
Yeah, definitely so. Just having that kill on the Razor is much bigger, and killing off that Queen of Pain also kind of slows down the gold progression of our Queen of Pain. That does let, Razor just get ahead by just a tad bit in this lane. Goes back in the jungle, gets the farm going. And again, just a fairly slow game from both sides. Not much really going on here, just securing as much farm as they can, trading hits where they can, but otherwise no real aggressive ganks coming out from Mineski or Boom ID.
AP thinking about throwing out the Rolling Thunder, but just scaring Fervian a little bit. If I could, John, I'd like to direct your attention towards that net worth graph where Ajit has really started to take over on that AM. Darkseid hasn't really been able to shut him down at all. It's currently sitting at almost 4k net worth. That is going to be a pretty fast Battle Fury if this keeps up.
Yeah, Ajit has been under no pressure at all at this top lane. I think one of the Darkseer lanes that actually doesn't really hurt. I mean, one of the lanes that Darkseer doesn't really work out too well is definitely against AM because of his innate, spell immunity. Spell shield does a lot of work for him, and he can kill creeps quite fast. He has really good attack canceling animation, so it's very easy for him to pop in and out of range of that Iron Shell and get his creep score up. So it's, again, not a lane that AM feels too much pressure in.
As you were speaking there, KP does manage to take down Kezcute. Bot lane, it was a rather easy kill, of course. They just got the shackles off with Raging Potato. Now, the wolf form will come out from Fervian. Gonna go after KP, but he can just swashbuckle out, and now they actually shackle up the Centaur, so he couldn't get the hoof stomp off. A nice little play from Raging Potato. It will mean he does end up going down, but I mean, he had an option, right? He lets KP go down, or he gives himself up, and I suppose you'd argue that's the right option.
I definitely agree with that decision coming out. I feel like, if you're going to lose someone, it might as well be your under-leveled Shadow Shaman support. And Raging Potato doesn't mind being the sacrificial support. We've seen him do this the past few days. We've seen him do it really the entirety of this Mineski lineup's run. Just taking that sacrificial role and copying everything for his team.
Bot lane, there's about to be a lot of action. A lot of heroes rotating over from Mineski and Boom ID over these bounty runes. Again, the Nightmare being put onto the Centaur. They want that gold, although no, they'll go onto Jokam instead, who's almost dead, and he will go down. Nice pickup from Mineski. Raging, trying to find the shackle onto Kezcute. The chase will continue, and unfortunately the Jakiro is very slow without brown boots. Looks like he will eventually end up going down. He's just trapped in the tree line there, and he is gone. While all that was happening, Ajit was under attack at the top lane, but does make it out and TP straight back in, although Makoto will get started with the static link, and Ajit does lose 45 damage. Meanwhile, that Iron Shell on the Illusion doing a lot towards Ajit, and they will find the kill. Very nice coordination from Boom ID.
Definitely so. Good use of that dominated creep there to trap Ajit, and that's a crucial kill for them, as he has had 2 free for lane, as mentioned before. So if they do get that nice kill, they're going to take this top tower as well.
Mid lane.
Out though.
They got Jokam mid lane, and now Kezcute goes down bot lane. FBZ tried to rotate in to help out, but 2 supports of Boom ID losing their lives in just a second. Makoto now under a bit of attack. Wards, ooh, it's not actually going to trap Makoto. Nice try from Raging Potato, but it won't really lead to any kind of kill, and unfortunately those wards aren't really in position to hit the tier 1 tower either, so it looks like they'll get away with their tier 1. Fervian though does go into that ultimate form and starts chasing Moon. Moon in a lot of trouble. Blink is off cooldown in just a few seconds, but it's not going to be quick enough. A nice rotation there from Fervian to ensure they get that mid kill.
Yeah, really good work there, and rather unfortunate for Mineski. That was the first set of wards of this game. Dropping it like that is not ideal. Couldn't even really do too much chip damage on this tower. So a bit of a wasted opportunity for Mineski. It was a bit of a risky play trying to get that trap going. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay off, so does kind of slows down the tempo for Mineski just a bit. They will have to wait for that 1 minute for these certain wards to be back up before pressuring a tier 1 tower or really applying massive pressure in a team fight.
Getting to that point as well for Boom, where it's getting to that point where they start to shine, and in fact mid lane a lot of damage with that Ice Path and the follow-up from Makoto. Raging almost down, and KP somehow manages to get out with 20 HP. The double Ice Path, however, really setting that up for Boom ID. Makoto finally had some targets standing still, so he could just static link them the whole time. They will take a mid-tier 1 tower out of that as well. Just a great play from this Radiant side.
Definitely so. This is, as you mentioned, this is the time where Boom ID definitely gets a massive power spike. This is the peak of their early game, and if they don't maximize it now, it's going to be really painful later on. So I'm glad to see this aggression coming out.
Also got to point out Makoto, with that quick rod of Atos, John, he's really setting up a few kills on this Queen of Pain, or attempting to anyway. Moon almost ends up falling down at that safe lane, but does manage to blink away just in the nick of time. Now mid lane, Ajit gonna get slowed and silenced. Back wall is there, but it's not quite enough. 60 HP he'll run away on, or will hear that illusion, making the chase, but KP will be there to make sure it does die before it can reach the anti-mage.
Again, good attempt coming out from Boom ID, just not quite enough. And Ajit, he's been under a bit of pressure now. He's still farming quite well. He's still going to have that Battle Fury up by the 15-minute mark, maybe the 16-minute mark if it doesn't go too freely. Otherwise, he's going to be able to accelerate that farm into the 20-minute mark and really just out-farm the enemy team.
Moon almost goes down top lane, and now Raging's going to be in trouble. The ward trap was laid down, but they don't care about it. They just run through it with Jokam and Makoto. Raging Potato, unfortunately, that is the second set of wards that haven't been used towards a tower. So now, Mineski looking to get revenge. The wards being used once again, and they will find Jokam, though Makoto is a much harder target. He'll go after KP. The Rolling Thunder will save him for the moment, and he will be able to get away once again on about 50 HP. They're going to continue this chase down a bot lane. They have found Mineski's Ninja Boogie on that Bane, but it's like everyone else will just dissipate for the moment. Moon really wanted to get in there with that Sonic Wave, but unfortunately he just wasn't there in the nick of time and couldn't really contribute to that team fight.
Rather unfortunate way for it to end. At the very least, they only lose their support Shadow Shaman, but it always comes at such a huge cost. They keep dropping those wards up. It really slows down the push coming out for Mineski, and I feel like you're going to need that map control soon, because this Lycan will start to take over the map. He's hit really good item times right now, Mike. He has his Necro Book 1, he has the Helm Dominator up, he's been applying a lot of pressure towards that top tower. If they don't keep Fervian in check, this could get a bit messy for Mineski.
Yeah, on the same side of the token though, John, Ajit, he just picked up that Battle Fury. That's going to be a... I mean, look, it's not at that point where it's concerning yet. I mean, the Lycan can start doing work with that Necro 1 book, but they don't get some pretty hefty work done. Ajit going to be farming pretty darn fast. We'll have to really wait and see what the game plan is from Boom ID now, because they are pretty much online and ready to go. And we do have the go-ahead from Boom ID. There was just a short disconnection. If you were captaining Boom ID, John, like, would you decide, like, let's go for a smoke rotation right now, or do you just continue the farm game for a bit?
I wouldn't want to continue the farm game. At the same time, a smoke doesn't feel like it would be a great idea. I think the best thing you could hope for is apply lane pressure a bit more. Instead of hanging out in the jungle, just pop into that lane, shove it in, and then rotate into the jungle, and then repeat as the waves come in. Just keep trying to shove those lanes out, and kind of try to take control of the enemy jungle at the same time. Not the easiest thing to do, but you do have fairly mobile heroes. You have a Darkseer who can keep the waves shoved out, a Lycan who can run in and out of that jungle and clear camps quite fast. I think that's really the best you could hope for. Just drain the space as much as possible, because right now a Jit still has space to farm. Right?
Yeah, it looks like the side of Boom are focusing and trying to find KP at that top lane, but they won't be able to manage that.
Radiant's bottom tower.
They are smoked up through the dire jungle, but well, it looks like they're going to try and go for that mid tier 2 tower. Of course, Raging Potato did manage to get the bot tier 1 with the Serpent Wards. KP defending by himself right now. They roll in. They use the Rod of Atos and he's trapped up. Rolling Thunder once again saving his life for the moment. And he will get out for the third time this game. And here comes Moon. He'll get the Sonic Wave. He's being chased down though. And he will go down as well thanks to Fervian. Jit, he'll find Makoto. But he'll also lose his life. And Fervian still man fighting. Doing a lot of work on that Lycan. Raging Potato being chased down. The Wolves could just finish the job for him. Although they will surge up the Jakiro. And now have they given that life away? No, they have not. Boom ID successfully take that team fight, getting a 2-3 their way, and perhaps a T2 tower mid lane.
Yeah, nice clean team fight going the way of Boom. I was surprised that Ajit committed so hard in that team fight. I'm really not sure he's in fighting condition yet. I'm fairly sure he's not. Like, all he has is the Battle Fury, Power Treads, and 1 Wraith Band. Nowhere near strong enough to take these fights, and it came out there. It's plainly clear that he is in no way, shape, or form ready to man fight against the Lycan yet. Forced the issue, a bit costly for a mistake. Not the biggest loss in the world yet. They don't lose out on any towers just yet, and he can easily dip back into farming. The wolf form will be down for about half a minute, so there's going to be a small opening where he has some free reign of the jungle again.
Kodo opting not to go for the Atos onto KP, rather they will try on the Bane, but the roll does miss. Jaboogie does get rooted in place and should be dead, although nice Nightmare onto Makoto. Plasma Field will get the job done, however. Fervian does get the top tier 2 tower while all that was happening. So far for Boom ID, pretty darn good. I mean, they're getting what they need to get. The only problem is Mineski is not stopping with their own pressure. I mean, they've moved down bot lane now. Raging Potato has another set of Serpent Wards available, and it looks like they are going to go for a tier 2 push themselves.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a trade at the very least, and I think Mineski should be fairly happy with that. Again, you're playing against a Lycan draft, which is meant to push. The fact that you can kind of apply the same amount of pressure should be a good sign for the vitality of Mineski's lineup.
Fervian almost got the Necro 3 book. In fact, he does have the recipe on the courier, and he will finish that off. It's the medallion as well. That does indicate a potential Roshan coming out soon from the side of Boom. Eski obviously going to be on the lookout for that, but Boom ID currently looking very, very strong. The net worth doesn't show it. It's just the natural peak of the heroes is pretty much right now, if I'm correct, John.
Yeah, definitely is. Boom ID is reaching their power spike right about now. They're probably going to last for the next 15 to 20 minutes at best. We've seen some Lycan games last a bit longer where the Lycan is still pretty dominant, but nothing past 50 minutes. I think that's when Mineski should definitely be on top of their equal in farm.
Well, Boom ID finally secured a kill onto KP. I mean, he's rolled away 3 times with barely any HP, but that time around they get the silences off perfectly, and he couldn't actually finish the animation for that Rolling Thunder. With that, they are moving their way through to the dire jungle. Their bot lane is currently being pushed in, however, by Raging Potato, so they will have to be wary of that. Serpent Wards are going to be available in about 20 seconds from now, so he could actually do some pretty significant damage to the tier 3. It looks like FBZ will take the role of defending that bot lane for his team, while the rest of them stay up top and perhaps go for a push.
I feel like this is the time for Boom ID to attempt that high ground push. They have the Aegis, they have Necrobook Trees up, they have the Shapeshift up. Every single ability and item they need for this mid game is on. So I would like to see him take that aggression on, especially while the AM has his pants down. You know, Ajit is still not in form to take a fight.
Well, they'll get started. Raging Potato just gets shredded in that mid lane. A very nice setup from Jokam. Again, they are seemingly chasing Ajit across the map. I agree with your point where they could probably go for higher ground, but rather they are going to try and finish off the outer towers at that bot lane, which Mineski have continuously been pushing out. Perhaps after those outer towers, they may go for a high ground push on Boom ID's end. They should pretty much still have the Aegis by the time that tier 2 at bot lane goes down, but I say that Ajit has started creep skipping, so it's not going to be quite as easy as it looks. They'll get one. Still got a nice little creep wave there, so they'll go for the secondary. Nice alpha wolf there by Fervian as well. And yeah, he's going to go straight up top. This is the right decision, I feel, from Boom ID. Going to try and make something happen. They'll go straight after KP with the root, and now the silence is there from Jokam. KP does not manage to get away. Very close, but Makoto barely gets him in time. We'll buy back immediately, however. They're going to go for a team fight. Mineski running in with Moon, although Plasma Field dealing a lot of damage from Makoto. Now the root as well. The Serpent Ward's being dropped. Oh, the Vac Wall comes out though. It's massive, and now the Ice Path into the Macro Pyre. That's a lot of damage coming out. The Mineski is still not dying. In fact, they're going to get this FBZ Darksea, and they do. However, they're starting to fall apart. Mineski, the fourth one going down for them, and Boom ID, in fact, no KP. He gets away, and Moon, he turns it around just a bit. The Raxes are still standing. Ninja Boogie, he'll come in as well. Makoto returns into the team fight, and Kescute with another double Ice Path. The Nightmare will be nice from Makoto. Fervian, is he going to push here? KP comes back in as well. They're going to keep fighting on the side of Mineski. Ice Path only gets Moon. Can they take Makoto down? It looks like they can, and they will. That's a dieback on him. Meanwhile, KP gets away again, and Moon is going to continue to push onto Fervian. Ice Path will slow down the Bane at the very least. Moon, got to be careful not to go too far, but the Lycan will back off, and Kescute, he will end up losing his life. Mineski managed to hold the high ground even though they got Vac walled into an Ice Path, John. That is a massive defense.
Yeah, definitely a very good defense coming out from Mineski. Really surprising they managed to hold out. That was pretty much a full team wipe on Boom ID, considering the fact that Lycan had to expend his Aegis there. So a really great defense coming out from Mineski. I feel like this is a bit worrisome for Boom ID. The fact that this is their moment to shine. This is their power spike. And they couldn't quite clean up the high ground even with the Aegis. It's not a great sign for them. It's not so worrying as well, as Lycan still has room to grow. They still have room to grow on the Razor as well. He does have the BKB up now. Fresh 10-second charge to use. And I feel like that might be enough to turn the tides in the next high ground push. But they won't have that Aegis to help them out any longer. So remains to be seen how that push will go. It did look bad at the start, like the tower melted so fast, but just the determination from Mineski and the fact that KP keeps living.
He does manage to survive every time, it seems. Like they caught him out once, but that was it. They'll get the shrine down to that bot lane, though again, Raging Potato doing what Shadow Shamans do best. Using that position 5 roll to just split push with those Serpent Wards, and well, he almost finds it. Meanwhile, KP managed to get Kescute down to the bot lane, and that's just going to mean they can't push for another while. Mineski understanding they just have to delay this game out until their anti-mage is online. Meanwhile, bot lane, they've gone on to Fervian. Nice shackles from Raging Potato. Ajit doing a lot of damage, and they'll take him out. That is a big pickup from Mineski.
Definitely is, and at this rate, Ajit's just going to get bigger and bigger. They're going to secure this tier 2, and that does open up the map immensely for Mineski now. It gives better access to that top jungle. Once you take out this tier 1 down mid, it's going to open up the Roshan just a bit more as well. And that does spell issues for Boom ID. Again, they still have room to grow. All their heroes still have some items that they could pick up and throw in the team fight. It's just the fact that Mineski's already bouncing back right when Boom ID is supposed to be, facing their strongest point, is mildly concerning, Mike.
It was definitely that team fight on the high ground down at that bot lane that really caused this to happen, though, John. Right? Like, I thought at the very least, right? It looked like when they were losing the team fight. I thought perhaps Fervian would have just focused down the racks with his units, but looks like he was more focusing on getting those hero kills and securing perhaps a secondary racks. And I mean, from that point on, you're at the 26-minute mark now. I mean, look at Arjun. He's top of the net worth, almost 16k, has the Battle Fury, has the Manta, going straight into an Eye of Skadi, of all things. Like, this is not going to be an easy aim to kill.
Yeah, it just gets harder and harder. Again, there is a severe lack of single target lockdown.
They're going again.
Onto Ajit.
Ninja Boogie nightmares himself up, FEZ making the chase. Meanwhile, Jokam rolling forward, trying to find more, but it looks like they will only get Ninja Boogie. Nevertheless, I suppose a kill's a kill, especially considering Ninja Boogie did die back. Gonna have a long respawn time.
Yeah, you take anything you can get at this point if you're Boom ID, and even if it is just Ninja Boogie, who is quite fond of dying, I have to admit, it's something, at very least. You do have 1 minute where you're going to be playing 4v5.
Moon, he's been backed. The root was there, but it wasn't enough. Kezcute, Ice Path will not connect. Sonic Wave being thrown out. Why the hell not? He's got an Aghanim Scepter. It's a lot of damage as well, and he will just juke them out and delay this as long as possible. Hastrun making it very easy to outrun the Lycan, although Jokam's here now. Roll will not connect though. Nice silence. It will stop the blink for a bit. Haste has worn off. Moon, where do you blink to now? He will blink onto the opposing high ground, and Jokam's continuing the chase. Moon will run towards the fountain. Unfortunately, that will not heal him up, John. And what's the plan here? Moon, he's just playing around with them, just delaying this. FBZ, meanwhile, joins in. They stun him up now. At the very least, this should be the kill, but Moon, he gets another blink off, and now he'll TP out of there. Hold on a minute.
No way.
You're not allowed to do that, are you? That can't be legal, John.
No. What? First was KP, now it's Moon. I mean, apparently Mineski are escape artists, Mike. Because they keep getting away with this. Man.
That was a very interesting chase. I mean, Jokam was working overtime to try to get that Queen of Pain. He was just.
I have to tell you though, the response from Boom ID, it's the embodiment of Southeast Asia. I have to tell you. Chasing someone across the map, you know, why the hell not?
Absolutely.
That's Southeast Asian way. We've got one-track minds, and sometimes it pays off. Sometimes you end up in Joyride for a bit.
Well, Fervian, he did pick up a double damage and goes for the Roshan. Mineski, they do scan it out, but it may be too late. In fact, they will go for the bot split push, and there's the wards as well, trying to force back the side of Boom ID. They will not finish the Roshan quite yet, and now they'll get started on Jokam, though Macropire is nice. They do get Raging as well. It looks like the AM wants to get out of there. Meanwhile, the Roche Pit, Fervian does have the Aegis, but KP trying to hold him down. They will get Fervian in the root, and now just don't let him run away. It's a lot of damage, and they will get the Aegis. No ultimate form available. This should be a very easy pickup for Mineski, although the rest of Boom are coming in, and they opt to just back off in peace.
Yeah, that's some great patience coming out from Mineski, knowing that they got what they wanted with that Aegis kill, just pulling back, not forcing the issue. They saw that buyback coming out from Jokam, figured, you know what, he bought back, they're under pressure to make something happen. We're not, we're going to pull out, we're going to farm up, and use this opportunity later on.
Mineski, make it aggressive. Kezcute, perhaps baiting for his team right now. He does have help, but he's going to drop pretty darn fast. In fact, Jokam, is he going to find the Bane in response? Doesn't quite look like it. The evac is not there. The wall was dropped, however. Ninja Boogie will lose his life. That'll pretty much be it for the team fight. Just two supports going down for either side. And they'll just shrine up afterwards.
It's starting to look pretty rough for Boom ID again. 30-minute mark now, 20 to 26k net worth lead for Mineski. Ajit clearly in the net worth lead, 20k net worth compared to Lycan at 16.5, even lower than Queen of Pain at 17k. Not a great spot for your Lycan. Again, his key thing is that he can come online super fast, but he's behind the AM at 30 minutes, Mike. It's not a great time, and we've seen this time and time and again when the Lycan just kind of tapers off it. He's still quite strong at this point, but I'd say after 15 minutes, that's as far as you can get. But past that point, you know, you're playing against an AM going to the late game. You just don't really match up too well.
Servian actually committing that wolf form, and now a smoke from Mineski. They saw that as well. It was KP who scouted that out. Raging, doesn't have a blink, wants to get in, he gets the Hex off, that Aether Lens paying off, and now Moon jumps in. They really want to get rid of this man, and they try to, but the Vac is there. Now the Sonic Wave though, nice Ice Path to slow things down. Jokam will get the Magnetizer and is still alive. KP will finish him off, however. Meanwhile, the Fiend's Grip was there on Makoto, and there are one down for each team. Makoto rooted in place, and it looks like Mineski aren't interested any longer. They do back off. Mind you, John, that was a team fight without Fervian's ultimate form, and I mean, perhaps if he did have that, that would have actually worked out better for Boom ID.
Possibly could have, Mike. I think the one big thing there in that team fight was that Ajit was dropping way too low. And sure, he has that Scotty up. He's going for the butterfly next. I think he's going to need a heart to really stand in front and just tank everything. Otherwise, he is still susceptible to being nuked down. You still have major threats in the form of the Lycan and a Razor that can really burst you down. Even the wall will cost you a lot of fishes. You know, just getting whacked by your own illusions, it's going to be painful for Aeon. So he does need a little bit more to really secure these man fights. But otherwise, we're starting to reach the point where AM is about to take over. You know, the butterfly is almost up, just about 25 gold left for it on Ajit. And once that's up, his right-click damage is just going to be insane.
Just gotta wonder, like, how did Boom ID get themselves back into this? Not only are they under a net worth disadvantage, but every time they want to go for a push, Moon is always there. Just using the Sonic Wave on the creep waves, and I mean, they can't survive that much damage. It is an Aghanim Scepter Sonic Wave. He continues to do this over and over again. And to make matters worse, you have that AM that can pretty much do the exact same thing. Just feels like Boom ID can't really catch a break to make that high ground push. Like, Mineski aren't giving them that chance.
Yeah, again, it comes down to the draft. Boom ID, they went for two supports that just don't have any hard lockdown to chase down both the Queen of Pain and Anti-Mage, innate Blink heroes. So you're never going to have enough lockdown to keep both of them in place. And you're always going to have an issue chasing them down.
Kodo jumps in. Raging Potato is the target. The Vac is there to hold the AM, and they've silenced him as well. Nice Ice Path as well. They're chaining everything perfectly, but Ajit gets out, and here comes KP. Rolling Thunder doing a lot of work, but Ajit actually loses his life to Jokam, who does manage to find the roll. They can't find KP any longer, apparently. He is gone, but they got the main target. Ajit is down for 80 seconds at least.
That's a very big kill for Boom. Opens up the map for them quite a fair bit. I'm not sure if there's any objective they can really take. I mean, Roshan's going to be gone for at least 3 more minutes. The high ground siege is possible. Probably that bot lane if they wished, but I'm not sure if they're so comfy with that without the ultimates up yet. I mean, they did drop the wall. It's still going to be a minute until that's up. They do have the Aghanims up on Mikoto, which I just noticed now, so the push should be a bit stronger coming out for Boom ID, if they so choose, but they don't quite look to be in full position for a great push yet. They still have to have Mikoto walk over.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention Moon's just going to Sonic Wave that Creep Wave as soon as they reach him. Here we go. Creep Wave's here. Good. Oh, actually, Vac is nice. Onto 2, and the silence from Jokam. They get the stun off with the Centaur, but it's not quite enough to hold him in place. Ninja Boogie with the Fiend's Grip on Jokam to hold him down. Make sure he can't do any more in KP. He's got that Rolling Thunder in a very nice position. A lot of damage being dealt, but here comes Makoto, trying to turn this one around for his team. They're still going after Moon, who does manage to survive only for the moment. He BKBs up. Is there enough damage onto Moon? No, there will not be. However, the Raxes are there on the bot lane to be taken, but the fortification will come out. And it looks like after that buyback from Raging Potato, they will back off on the side of Boom ID.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, the respawn time for Ajit was just about up, so he does come back in. Really not in a good position to threaten anymore there. I feel like a lot of the reasons why that fight went so long was Jokam. Just him being at the right spot at the right time, kicking Fervian out while he was being shackled up is was pretty darn big. If they lost Fervian there, it would have been much, much worse for
Ajit?
Mighty, so.
Ajit bot lane. Dukes the ice path. Jocam's there, but he won't roll in. Dangerous positioning coming up from Ajit. Have that ice path hit. Jocam may have been able to lock him down long enough. Fervian was standing there with a double damage rune as well, and they're going to go for a team fight now on Mineski. Boom ID. Fervian, ultimate form coming out. Moon commits that Shadow Strike. He could be in trouble, however. They purge him up. He'll Guardian Greaves it off, and he will blink out, but Fervian is still on the chase. Now Makoto will go straight onto Moon, and meanwhile, Ninja Boogie is gone. No buyback available on him. Can they find any more? Makoto gets kicked forward, and they really need to kill off Moon on this Queen of Pain. They can't get the job done, and to make matters worse, Raging Potato is now creep skipping while all this has been happening. He will BKB up and go for the TP attempt, and it looks like it'll work out for him as well. Mineski still managed to hold on to that pot Rax.
Yeah, that's a lot of time and space being bought for Ajit, who does get a small push going down mid. It's going to have a huge creep wave to farm up top as well. I'm really not too sure what to say about this AM at this point. He's going to finish his BKB soon. That's going to be a massive help, but I feel like he's going to need to be a bit tankier afterwards as well. Although he is pretty much 6-slotted at that point, unless he wants to take off his boots. I'm probably going to look at the heart. I feel just more HP should really help the cause here and pretty much cover all his bases.
I like the item choice here from Makoto as well, John. He's gone for the Nullifier now. That's really going to help up against especially that Queen of Pain, who continues to BKB and just blink away every time they get a jump on her. In fact, they go again. There's a Hex available now, and they have Hex drop, but the Ice Path, it doesn't connect, but Jocam's there to save the day. He doesn't get the silence. Ninja Boogie, meanwhile, making a run for it. He's been purged up. They burst him down. Sonic Wave clears the creep wave once again, and Fervian, he doesn't know what to do with himself right now. Doesn't know who to chase. He's disarmed anyway, and well, they find themselves in this position where they can't really push thanks to Moon, and they had the opportunity to kill him, John, but they just didn't get the chains off well. Like, the Ice Path barely missed, and the silence wasn't there in time from Jocam, and that did mean that he just walked out.
I think the silence might actually have landed, but the Guardian Greaves Purge was also there coming out from Moon, so he does manage to get away with that. Really, a lot of value from that item now for Moon, just saving his ass so many times. I think the one thing you might want to see from Moon, because that was pretty darn close, is maybe, maybe an Aeon Disc coming out. That is a pretty good item as you go on into the later parts of the game for something like a Queen of Pain who does initiate for you. Mineski does opt to smoke, though. We'll see if they can find something meaningful here, Mike.
This could be big. One good team fight for them, and they could really get a Rax of their own. Moon, it will get broken. Tries to go for the Rod of Atos, but will miss, and unfortunately for Mineski, that is not a great smoke attempt. Won't get anything out of it quite yet. ID. Holding onto that high ground, of course, the Roshan, it will come up in about 3 seconds. Boom ID are going to be the first ones to see it with that wolf in the Roche pit, and now they spot it out. Smoke is there from Boom. They want to get a nice team fight to secure this Roshan and perhaps a Rax. KB, FBZ, he jumps straight onto the anti-mage. They want Ajit gone. Can they hold him down long enough? The Nullifier's there, and he's been muted. He does go down. He doesn't have buyback available, and they've also lost Ninja Boogie. KP needs to get himself out of there immediately, although it's a lot of damage. He does go down as well, although he does have a buyback available. Do you go for the Roche? Do you go for the push? It looks like they're going to go for the defense. Moon currently getting Rod of Atos and nullified right now, but he will get the blink off eventually. Now Jocam, can he lock him down? The roll will not connect. The BKB will be there. Moon will go for the immediate blink TP play, and it looks like they've decided they're going to try to go for a top push.
Yeah, I think that's the right play here. Really just shutting down as much as you can while AM's still gone. We do force the buyback out of the Pangolier as well.
Fervian is there with Kezcute trying to get this push. Nice Ice Path, barely connects onto two heroes, but there's no follow-up. They'll get the tier 3 tower at the very least. They need to get a Rax, the Vac. It will not be successful from FBZ. Fortification being used. Now Makoto will delay them for a moment so they can get the racks, although no, they're going to go for a team fight. Joe Cam kicks back Ninja Boogie, and that's going to be a dieback if he dies, and he will. Makoto also found Raging Potato. Both supports down, and they're going to go for tier 4s, John. There's a lot of units there from Boom ID. Mineski really needs to try and hold on here, but Moon can't really do much on his own. KP rolling around them, trying to stun them up as much as they can, and now Moon jumps in. The Fervian has got the Ancient, and Boom ID. I mean, persistence is key, John. They were running out of time for this draft, and eventually they do manage to get it. Mineski holding on as long as they could. It wasn't enough, but man, what a game number one.
Yeah, that's one way to start the series off. Really tight, I have to say. I mean, for a while it looked like Boom was losing their momentum, but a couple of bad team fights from Mineski kept them in the game. You know, they lasted until 41 minutes, which is right around the time where you'd expect this draft to really start losing out to Mineski. So they just held out long enough, managed to take a couple of good team fights, and really secured themselves this win. I think Mineski better look back and kind of rework their tactics, rework their movement, because it was that close for them. Just that small push for them, and might have ended up very differently. But Boom ID does come out on top in game one.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to game two, Mike.
Well, we're going into the lobby now, John, so we'll be right back with you guys. The viewers, thank you for watching as always. The wait will not be long at all. The lobby is filling up quite fast, so please do stick around with us. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire. Be back with you in just a second.